you look at the quarterback position for the New England Patriots, just think young Tom Brady. And I'm not talking about Super Bowl 7 win Tom Brady, 10 appearance Tom Brady. I'm talking about early stages Tom Brady, year 1, 2, 3, when the defense played a certain way, and they continued to let him develop at the quarterback position. Because those early Super Bowls, let's be honest, was not Tom Brady. It was the Willie McGinnises, the Teddy Bruschi's, the Tyler, the Lawyer Malloys, the Ty Laws, the Ted Johnsons. Those were the guys that anchored that football team to victory in those Super Bowls. Then eventually, they took the training wheels off Tom Brady, and it was all about terrific Tom. And I think that is the same recipe that they're trying to go with Mac Jones. Now, his may speed up a little bit more. We've had Charlie Weiss on with us before, who was the offensive coordinator with those Tom Brady teams. And he once said to us that Mac Jones is a little ahead of where Tommy was at this stage of his career. So I think he can be the franchise quarterback for them because they like what they see.
Key, thinking about this yesterday, I obviously don't have him in the upper tier of other quarterbacks in the AFC. Like he can be the franchise quarterback, but he'll be a mid-tier franchise quarterback. And the fact that him combined with Belichick, with Bill Belichick, that's enough, right? Like for me, mid-tier quarterback who doesn't make mistakes, who is sharp at the line of scrimmage, who can make people better, who's a good leader, that combined with the way Belichick is a coach, his mind works, that will be enough for them. But I don't see him being in this next upper echelon of the Justin Herberts or the Patrick Mahomes. Well, he's not that guy to me.
What I would say, Jay and Max, you didn't see Tom Brady being the greatest quarterback of all times in his second career in the National Football League either. And I'm not saying that Mac Jones will, and I'm not saying that Mac Jones will turn out to be Tom Brady. But at the same time, you got to let it develop to a point where it looks a little bit different. Year one, I'm not asking Max. I'm not asking you to do anything, right? Even though Mac Jones completed 68% of his passes for close to 4,000 yards. The second year, I need you to do a little bit more for me. The third year, I need you to be a Pro Bowl-type quarterback. Maybe you don't get in, but your foot is in the door. That fourth year, I need to make that decision on long-term extending you, and that'll tell me a lot.
And so far, based on that chart, Key, Mac Jones is ahead of the curve.
Yes.
First year, he's where you might want a guy to be in his second year. And
yes.
Look, Jay, I would say this. Tom Brady is such an outlier. Not only is he a best-case scenario, he's beyond that, right? So I get
But see, Max, we only talking about early Tom Brady, though.
No, but
we're not talking about late Tom Brady.
No, I get it. What I'm saying is his development was so perfect. Like, it's the best-case scenario for what you're talking about. But, Jay, I would say one thing about Tom Brady is he gave you the feeling, or like Tom Brady early on got more credit than he deserved, right? He gave you a feeling like that's the dude I want. Even Key when his team was carrying him. Does Mac Jones give you that feeling, Jay? Is Mac Jones the guy you want?
No, he doesn't give me the same feeling Tom Brady gives me. And I think we're making a huge mistake by comparing him, Key, just because Tom Brady was there. Right? It's like these natural comparisons that people start to draw about where he was in this process of his development. And I think that just automatically sets him up for failure because he's not going to be Tom Brady. Like, Tom Brady is one of – I know, but I know you guys are comparing it to the development process of it, Key, but he's not – Tom Brady's one-on-one, man.
But it's the development process. See, what happens is we think about Tom Brady – Giselle Tom Brady. We don't think about Tom Brady looking for a girlfriend early on. We don't think about that. We think about Tom Brady, 4th Super Bowl, 5th Super Bowl, 6th Super Bowl, 7th Super Bowl. Don't think that. Think early Tom Brady.
Remember early Tom Brady, Key? Early Tom Brady and the comparisons to Peyton. Everyone's like, well, Peyton's better, but Brady's lucky. But after a while,
compare it to that.
Right, but
compare it to Adam Vinatieri kicking game-winning field goals compared to that.
No doubt. And early on in his career, it felt like something good always happens for that guy, right? But they built on that until it became ridiculous. And I think Jay's point, correct me if I'm wrong, Jay, is that's such a perfect outcome. You can't hope for that with a dude like Mac Jones. You can hope to follow a similar trend, but the ceiling on it probably isn't what Tom Brady's was, which seemed limitless, right?
And Key, I would ask you, according to your chart that you have about where the development of the quarterback is, like, would you bet a lot of money on the fact that Mac Jones will be a Pro Bowler in his third year?
He a Pro Bowler now, Jay. He went to the Pro Bowl this year.
It's true.
I mean, well, yeah, I know, but
hey, Jay,
got me on that one. Got me.
But
can I retract that statement?
Jay,
I take it
point
back.
taken. Point
You know
taken.
what I mean?
He was not
Yeah.
one of the 3 best quarterbacks in the
Thank
AFC.
you.
No,
Thank you. Thank you.
Look, I get it, but I want you to really use your Duke brain and just understand what I'm saying right here. It's just let him develop. He's not going to ever be Tom Brady. Tom Brady is one of one. No question about it. But the same blueprint that they use for Tom Brady, they're using for Mac Jones.
What is your best guess, Key, what Mac Jones' ceiling is? Based on I think more of Mac Jones, than you guys do, because I thought he was very impressive as a rookie. But what's his ceiling, do you think?
I think his ceiling for me is several Pro Bowls, as long as Bill Belichick is there, maybe 1 or 2 Super Bowls, and after that, I don't know. That's what it is for me. As long as Bill Belichick is there, he has a fighting chance. There is no question about it.
You know, it's Bill Belichick has yet to come close to challenging for a Super Bowl as a head coach without Tom Brady. Hasn't been very long.
Oh, God, if you don't stop, Matt.
But it hasn't been very long. But I'll just point something out. Greg Popovich is one of the greatest coaches of all time. And when he had Tim Duncan, right, like great coaches have their extension of themselves on the floor as the captain of the team. When he had Duncan, he won 5 chips. No one's going to say Popovich is not a great coach, but the fact is, I'm just stating a fact, he's never won a championship in the NBA without Tim Duncan. Belichick, it's been very short time, hasn't done it without Brady. It doesn't mean he can't succeed.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.